ever happened to you? You're playing a classic game of Twister with the dots and the spinning and all the fun colors, and you think to yourself, you know what this needs? This needs more elder things with too many eyes from dimensions from beyond the ken of man, the sight of which would drive us insane. Hello, this is Dan from the Fundamentals, and I think WizKids has come out with a game that might answer that problem. It is Arise. No, that is not Arise, it is Arise, and I don't have a lisp. It is a Game of Eldritch Contortions. Funny story about this, I ordered this not knowing it was actually a physical game. I thought it was a board game. So when I received this and felt how heavy it is, kind of shocked me. And I googled it and saw, oh, it's Evil Twister. But it looks way better than that. I mean, first of all, the big box, very thick box, and it is heavy. I mean, there's poundage in here, and you'll see why in a second. But it is a very interesting concept. You can see the art is very, very cartoony and fun. This isn't necessarily a horror game, necessarily a game that is going to be ooky spooky. It's more that sort of silly Cthulhu feel that's become so popular these days. But let's open her up, as always. Plastic taken off. Comes right off. Here we have the rule book. It is 4 to 6 players, Jay Treat. You are great old ones, towering ominously over Arkham, waiting to be unleashed. Use your many eyes to consider your faithful cultists' guidance. Stretch out your writhing tentacles to corrupt Arkham and leverage your unspeakable mind to keep your balance long enough for your cultists to complete 3 sigils and summon you into the mortal plane. There's teams of 2 that make it up. One of them plays as a tentacly eldritch monstrosity, while the other is their mortal friend who helps them, tells them where to go. You can see, here's an example of how those cards work. We'll see that in a second. It's not a super complicated game, because essentially there's energy types. It's like Pokemon. You're basically trying to just connect this energy with your body. And the way you do that is, that's where the bulk of this game is in these locations. Just to give you an idea. Oh god. See how thick that is. These are, rather than being one solid mat, like with Twister, individual mats. Each of them represents a part of Arkham. We have the Lodge. Basically how this feels, I don't know if you can see this, they're basically mouse pads. Very high quality mouse pads, admittedly, with some really nice art on them, but mouse pads nonetheless. But we have the Lodge, the hospital. You can see different colors and energy types represented here in the hospital. The strange high house, where all the cool kids go, I assume. The graveyard, which only exists in grayscale. The train station. The Black Grove, which is pretty freaking metal. I mean, look at that, dude. Hell yeah. Black Grove. The lighthouse. Uh-oh. Spooky tentacle. Look at it go. The Arkham Gazette. You can see some dudes having a bit of an argument outside the old paper. Ooh, the Witch House. Which house is that? That's the Witch House. That what house? That is which house it is. The Witch House. Miskatonic University, of course. Gotta have Miskatonic. Gotta have it. Oh, something's going on in that room. It's red. Where's it pink? I don't know. The Historical Society. A little bit overgrown with vines and such. But you can see there's, I mean, it really pops. It's really, they're not like super thick, but this is rubberized down here. And it, I'm going to test it out when I review it. But this I've tested a little bit. This sticks really well to carpet. It's not amazing on slippery surfaces, though. The old church, as opposed to that filthy new church, you know, it's astounding. They have the one working stained glass, and the rest of it's all grody. Uh-oh. That's not how you're supposed to swim. The boarding house. I assume that there's nothing boring in the boarding house. Let's see. These are kind of like Where's Waldo paintings, because sometimes there's some kind of shenanigan going on. Nope, this is just a boring old boarding house. That lamplight looks suspicious, though. Arkham Asylum. Now, this is surprising because, no, I mean, Batman. There's no Batman in this. I mean, there could be. But yeah, there's Arkham Asylum. Uh-oh, something in the window there. Maybe that's Batman. The library. Now, this is actually an accurate depiction of libraries because you have out front, it's very normal, very friendly. And then we go into the back and what's that? Oh, there's the librarians having their rituals. You know, that's what they do. Ask any librarian, any of them. This is what they do. That's what the degree is for. The funeral home, where I see Herman Munsters making a visit. There's some people here visiting a grave, which is weirdly close to the door at the funeral home. The docks. Uh-oh, someone broke the docks. I wonder if it was that squid from the lighthouse picture. We'll see. The police station, which looks a little bit underused, but then again, you can't really put handcuffs on a giant tentacled elder thing. Though I think someone may have crashed. Ooh. For those of you Riverdale fans, look, it pops. Not really, but it's the late night diner where all the hip and happening kids go to get chocolate malts. There's some smoke coming out of that car, though. Is that exhaust smoke, or is someone hotboxing that dank Eldritch Kush? Who knows? And finally, penitentiary, where inmates mill about among the corn or wheat. I don't know. I'm sure. Oh, there is. Oh, he's gonna get you. They're playing tag. Isn't that fun? You gotta love when they're playing tag in prison. It's a very fun thing. Now, the way you figure out how you're moving is with these. These are those scorecards that tell you where you're going. These are a thick plastic, sort of a thick cardboard, I'm sorry. About the same sort of feel as the Latinum from the Star Trek game. But they have these names that are kind of fun. Killer of Hope, That Which Makes Hair Stand on End, Crawling Sensation, Preferably in Your Skin, and Weaver of the Blanket of Night. And these are the things, these are the patterns that you draw from, and then they decide how you contort thyself. Okay. So it is a lot of replayability because you offer all these shapes. And then you have these. These are the creatures. Oh, these are the elder ones themselves. Here, I'm just going to pop them all out because they're big. Which, of course, have a basis in the lore. Each of them have their own abilities. We've got Bokrug, who is immovable and compelling. Yig, the foreboding and the Puppet Master. Garanothoa, the Amorphous, and the Hideous. You know, if they're amorphous, they could probably not be hideous. Nug and Yeb, the Cruel and the Awful. Ron to Goth. Ron to Goth, as opposed to Ron to Prep. The Harbinger and Who is Dreaming. And see, it's very much a party game. Great Old Ones can't understand cultists speaking in normal voices when he's dreaming. When he's a Harbinger, you have to use an honorific. See, it's fun because it looks like the mortal has to treat the Elder God as an Elder God. Golgoroth, good band. Flip your current sigil card to the other face. Use your sigil cards. And the Dexing. Whenever sigil is completed, you may force opposing cultists to flip their current sigil. Hastor, the Untouchable. You can banish an appendage. It's fun. You can banish people's appendages. The All-Seeing. And then, of course, Cthulhu. The big green cheese. Look at him. Oh, well, you can't look at him, but Cthulhu. Woo! There's the money. Once per game, you complete a sigil card. He is the Eldritch and the Cunning. You can use your head. Isn't that fun? So, it's a straightforward game. You're one of these guys. Your cultist sort of tells you what you're doing, and you move as an Elder God, and you connect these spaces with the cards. When you make enough shape, you get the points. Highest point wins. So, if you are looking for a game that is fun, rather silly, but a little bit different than Twister, but more physical, then this might be something to look into. I will of course have a full review as well as probably some embarrassing pictures of this as soon as possible on the Fundamentals. Until then, happy gaming.